We begin on a sad note where the body of former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari was flown out of London on Tuesday morning en route to his hometown of Daura in Katsina State. His remains were transported aboard a Nigerian Air Force aircraft as preparations for a state burial move forward. The late president, who passed away in the United Kingdom, is set to be laid to rest in accordance with national honors, with government officials and dignitaries expected to attend the ceremony. Security has been heightened in Daura and surrounding areas as the country prepares to pay its final respects to the former leader. Buhari served 2 terms in office and remained a prominent political figure until his death. Meanwhile, security has been significantly tightened in Katsina State as the final preparations are underway for the burial of former President Muhammadu Buhari, scheduled to take place today in Daura. The Katsina Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has deployed 2,807 personnel to key locations across the state to ensure peace and order during the solemn event. According to a statement from the State Commandant, Aminu Detti, the deployment follows a directive from the NSCDC Commandant General Ahmed Abubakar Audi with a mandate to provide maximum security before, during, and after the burial. Security operatives have been strategically positioned at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport in Daura and at the palaces of both the emirs of Katsina and the emir of Daura, as well as other sensitive locations. The command says its approach includes intensive surveillance, credible intelligence gathering, and community engagement in close collaboration with other security agencies. Still on the death of the former president, the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari has triggered a wave of reactions. Our News Central Sewese Anyo captured reactions from some Nigerians on the streets of Lagos.
As has already been announced,
from soldier to statesman, Muhammadu Buhari's influence on Nigeria spanned decades. His death at 82 in London after a prolonged illness has stirred mixed emotions nationwide.
Personally, I'm indifferent because although a lot of people, when he was president, several things were messed up under him, but there's a normal saying that you don't wish bad against the dead. So I think I wished him well because in other areas, he actually tried in other areas, even though economy, security, and others were messed up under his regime.
He's a human being, and when he was in power, he had so many advisors and he had so many things on his table. Well, he did his best and he survived 8 years. I would say that, well, everybody has to die. Even if he did well, they'll still blame him. But whatever it is, he's late now.
President Bola Tinubu praised him as a patriot and a symbol of integrity who championed unity and fought corruption. But for some Nigerians, memories of economic struggles and slow governance under his watch remain fresh.
The man has tried his own best. You understand me now? There's no how you can please the world. But I know the man has laid his own impact on the country.
Honestly, we just have to sympathize because we've actually lost an icon in our nation. Despite the fact that there are some ups and downs, every human being have their own flaws. We are not perfect.
Buhari ruled Nigeria first as a military leader from 1983 to 1985 and later as a 2-term elected president from 2015 to 2023. He gained respect for battling Boko Haram and pushing anti-corruption reforms, yet drew criticism for sluggish policy action and rising hardship during his tenure.
The time of COVID-19, the man doesn't make us proud and doesn't make us happy. He tried to frustrate us and bring everybody down to this country. So the little word I can say about that man, may he so rest in peace, Sha.
Buhari is a president that everybody was like, oh, we hope him to do well. But he still did, though. He tried. He managed the country during this time. At least there was a low record of insecurity, let's just say, to compare to now.
Look at the power system, the health. Look at the water. What has he done? Really focus on in this country? Nothing. So why are we remembering him for what?
While tributes pour in, reactions remain divided. A reminder of a legacy that is as complex as Nigeria's own journey. In Lagos, for News Central, Sewesi Anyon.
Earlier, Femi Adesina, Special Advisor, Media and Publicity to the former President Muhammadu Buhari, joined us to share his thoughts.
A couple of years before he became president, we had been acquainted, we had been speaking, because I used to write a column at the back page of The Sun every Friday. And a couple of times I wrote about him. One Saturday morning, I had written about him the previous day. One Saturday morning, my phone just rang. I picked it, and he said, "This is Muhammadu Buhari." I said, "Which Buhari?" He said, the same Buhari. I screamed. And then we talked about my article of the previous day, and since then we began to talk. Then in 2013, my mother passed away. We were having the obsequies in Lagos here, and I invited a number of people, including President Buhari. I was shocked when he showed up. And he sat through the service, a Christian service, for somebody they used to call a religious bigot. He sat through the service. That fetched him greater respect from me. And when eventually he won the election, on the night he won the election in 2015, I think that was March 31 or something, I had just come from work. I was the editor-in-chief of the Sun newspapers. So I came home sometime after 10 and we were watching the results coming. About to midnight, it was clear he had won. Then, after midnight, my phone rang again. And the person said, "Please hold up for the president-elect." And Lord Lord came on the line and he said, "Adesina," which was how he liked to call me, "Adesina, thank you very much."
Former Minister of Communications and Digital Economy also shared his thoughts on the passing of the former president.
It is a very painful day, but we always accept what Allah wills and what He does, and this is part of our faith. President Muhammadu Buhari, his name is synonymous to integrity. One may argue if he doesn't know him, but for those of us who interacted with him physically and for several years, there is no doubt that his name is synonymous to integrity, because I lived with him for 25 years, and Almighty God is my witness. I have never doubted that integrity through my interaction with him, and this is indeed very important. And part of his legacy that I always remember is patriotism. He is indeed a Nigerian that is proud of Nigeria, and he treated Nigerians equally. And number 3, discipline.
Senior Special Assistant, Media and Publicity to former President Muhammadu Buhari also shared his thoughts.
Buhari's death has dampened the spirits of virtually everyone here. He's an inspirational figure, not only at home here in Daura, but in the nation and the entire continent. He led by example. He was a rare kind of leader, and certainly incorruptible, and the closest friend that the masses of our people would possibly ever have. He's lost and he's gone, so everyone is not happy. Well, there's sadness everywhere. I think his simplicity is extraordinary, because even power that he held, you know, he didn't take it to the heart. He didn't use it to antagonize anybody or do injustice. You know, he wielded the power in line with the Constitution. When he fell ill, he willingly, without any pressure, handed power to the vice president.
Now, to further discuss this, I'm joined by Solomon Dalong. He served as the Minister of Youth and Sports of Nigeria from 2015 to May 2019. Also joining me is Sheriff Mulade, who is a renowned environmental activist in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria and National Coordinator, CEO, Center for Peace and Environmental Justice. But before we come to our guests, we have our correspondent standing by at the residence of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura. We have Jamil Mabai, who will bring us an update on how the burial is coming along. Jamil, thank you so much for joining us. Please go ahead and give us your updates.
Okay, Daxon, we're still at the residence of the late president, and like a few minutes ago when Rakaya appeared, guests are still coming. We have the likes of Rotimi Anechi, we have the likes of Alimadu Sharif, former governor of Borno State, we have the likes of former governor of Kogi State, we have the likes of former governor of Katsina State, Aminu Bello Masari, and plethora of other guests from across the country are coming to pay their condolences. And just now, the Emir of Daura also arrived at the president's residence. And, virtually all his extended relatives are also here, and we're waiting for the arrival of the immediate family and that of the president, which any moment from now, according to what the governor said yesterday, that by 12, the body of the former late president will arrive at the airport, but we're still waiting on that. And the house is filled up, and the city of Daura is agog with sympathizers paying homage and paying condolence visits to the family. So far, this is what we have.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that update, Jamil. We'll definitely reach out to you in our subsequent bulletin for more on this. Now we'll go back to our guest. Like we said earlier, we have Solomon Dalong and also Sheriff Mulade joining us this morning. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, so let me begin with you, Mr. Dalong. You had the privilege of serving under President Buhari's administration. What do you believe was his most significant policy achievement, and how did it impact Nigeria?
His soul rests in perfect peace. President Muhammadu Buhari was a personal friend, was a father, he was a mentor, and he was somebody who had a lot of respect and love for me. And I share the same for him. We share a very close and personal relationship. It wasn't politics that brought us together. It was a relationship and friendship that culminated into politics, joining him in politics. He personally, just like Adeshina said, he personally placed a call to me on Christmas Day, and he followed it up consistently many years later. Immediately I would come out from church, he would call. And then he invited me, said, look, I want you to work with me, and I know you very well. I know you are somebody who has a very toxic mouth, you don't spare anybody. Let us covenant today that you will not spare me. Anything I do that is wrong, the same speech you will treat others, do same to me. So we covenanted and traveled along and into government. So, and I've remained committed to that covenant because I have not spared him, and I will not even spare him, even in death. Because it's a covenant. Where he is right, I will say he's right. Where he's wrong, I will say he's wrong. Back to major policy thrusts, the Buhari government. In sports where I presided, we had major transformation and progress in sports. Because Nigeria, from nowhere, in international sports, became champions in many sports, became African champions in about 10 sports before I left in 2019. We had even world records. Nigeria became world champion in Scrabble back-to-back in 2017. Nigeria recorded one of the greatest outing in basketball in Spain, World Cup, where the Tigers became the first African country to move to qualify to quarterfinals in 100 years and move their ranking from number 32 to number 8 in the world. Now, Buhari presidency will be remembered for one, his anti-corruption posture as a person. Buhari is incorruptible, but of course, he was not quite successful with the war against corruption because corruption still fought back, like he said, and there were instances of monumental corruption under his watch. So he will be remembered for that policy of, if we do not kill corruption, corruption will kill us. Buhari is not too young to run law rather, which was supposed to open the political space for youth participation. You will be remembered for that. We will not forget Buhari for recovering 24 or 26 local government areas in 3 states of the Northeast, because when we came in 2015, there were over 26 or so local governments in Yobe, Borno, Adamawa, under the full control of Boko Haram. Buhari was able to recover that, and he maintained it until he left in 2023. It's only now that we are hearing that they are now repossessing some of the local government. We will remember him for that. We will remember him for the petroleum bill, where he was able to initiate and sign. We will also remember him for electoral reforms, where he signed the electoral reforms, major electoral reforms in 2022 or thereabout. We will also remember him, for his humility as a leader. Buhari has rare personal attributes as a leader. Very humble. He was incorruptible. He was also honest as a person. This was not much translated into his presidency, and that explains the type of reactions we are having about the news of his demise. But Nigeria has lost one of his greatest leaders.
Okay, Mr. Dalong, so sorry for your loss once again, but we'll definitely come back to you with some of those policies that you've mentioned. Let's go back to Sheriff. Sheriff, the Ogoni cleanup was one of the flagship environmental promises under Buhari's administration. Now, did his government deliver on that promise, or was it more of a political soundbite, than real progress? Hello, Sheriff, can you hear me? All right, now we'll try to reconnect with Sheriff. Now, coming back to you, Mr. Dalong, some of these policies that you've mentioned, some quarters have actually argued that former president, that his policies such as the currency redesign and the demonetization also had unintended consequences on the economy. How do you respond to these criticisms?
But there are genuine concerns which I also shared as the dark points of Buhari's presidency. When you look at the killing of Shiite in 2015, which personally I confronted him and expressed my concern about what happened, because I made it known to him that that wasn't part of the promises we made to Nigerians when we were campaigning. I mean, the poor people invested in our campaigns, and Buhari was the only person in this country that Nigerians owned his campaign as a personal project and invested in it. So I couldn't have understood why we will allow that to happen. So many lives of Nigerians were lost in that conflict. There were better ways, I think, that could have been managed. So I shared my concern. That was a dark area. The NSAS protest in Lagos was also mismanaged. The killing of innocent young people who were peacefully protesting. They were not carrying arms, and then heavy firepower was mobilized and deployed to disperse them. That also, I shared my concern that I did not think there was a better way government would have dealt with the situation. Then you have also the issue of the invasion of the residences of senior justices of the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court. To me, that also was an infraction of our constitutional boundaries, because I do not expect us to have gone through that route. There are better ways of handling it, because the law is quite clear as to how judges should be disciplined.
So what about initiatives, like the Anchor Borrowers program? Can you share your thoughts on the effectiveness of these particular programs and how you think it affected Nigerians?
No, the programs were laudable programs, but they suffered proper and good implementation, because if they were quite effective, the impact would have still been living with Nigerians today. So they were laudable initiatives, even with the N-Power. The N-Power was laudable initiative, but it ended up to be a hub of corruption and scandal, because ministers who were managing the ministry, each of them had ended up being a guest of the anti-corruption agency. So Buhari had laudable initiatives that suffered poor and bad implementation.
Okay. Now, I'm being told that we've been able to reconnect with Mulade. Mr. Mulade, let's talk about the Ogoni cleanup, which was one of the flagship, environmental promises under the Buhari administration. Would you say that the government delivered on that promise?
Well, under former President Muhammadu Buhari, the people of the Niger Delta, especially those from the Ogoni area, see the president coming as a messiah in terms of the environmental cleanup exercise that were embarked by his leadership. And to a reasonable extent, of course, the president did what he could within the confine of his ability. But to most of us, it falls short of expectation because the Ogoni cleanup exercise was a pilot project, a flagship to give proper direction to environmental remediation in the entire Niger Delta. Ogoni is not the most polluted, most devastated area in terms of environmental degradation. But however, the people of Ogoni have been able to carry out this agitation to the national and international level that have drawn their attention to the area. So we believe that that project could have served as a platform for further remediation of the area. So under President Buhari, we able to see that boldness, that leadership quality in processing the process. But unfortunately, most of the activities or most of the cleanup exercise were like politically motivated, where we didn't see much of the impact. If you want to speak on the Ogoni cleanup in specific, we didn't see much of it. But however, like as I said, he did well. And today, former President Muhammadu Buhari is a man with a lot of respect. His simplicity, some of the qualities he possesses shows that he's a man of integrity. He came into power in the 1983 to 85. And of course, by the grace of God, he came to power again in 2015 till 2023. And within this period, you can see that he has good intention for Nigeria. Unfortunately, age was not on his side. Some of the political appointees, ranging from the executives to other appointees, were not helpful to the man. If not, most of the ministers, most of the political appointees, if they have that same quality that late Buhari possessed, Nigeria could have moved further. Nigeria could have made more progress.
All right, Sheriff, now speaking on this, in line with this, there are arguments that the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project became a bureaucratic institution rather than an agent of change. Do you share that view? And if so, where do you think it all went wrong? Is it with the ministers, with the commissioners, or where did it all go wrong?
Well, like as I said, the ministry, the remediation or the Ogoni cleanup exercise was shadowed with the Ministry of Environment. And the ministers in charge and the commissioners and the other authorities, I think that is where we have some of these challenges because of the bureaucracy of government and because of some personal interest. Some of those vendors were engaged to carry out this exercise were not accredited environmental firms. Some of them were politically registered for their own interests. So at the end of the day, we lack some of the environmental best practices to the international standard that will give that cleanup the required attention, the required cleanup exercise. See, today, if you visit the Ogoni, we all talk about Ogoni cleanup on the media, on the paper. There is nothing practically much on ground. Sometimes it is only when you want to see political visit, that is when you see that some of these agencies or the firms that have been engaged will be assigned to be on ground to ensure that the area is thoroughly, so there are some jobs that are going on for people to see. So that is just the major challenge we have in the Ogoni cleanup.
Okay, now let's come back to you, Mr. Dalong. Now, while we wrap up, in your view, could you share with us what legacy would you say that former President Muhammadu Buhari has left behind in terms of, when it comes to his administration? What legacy would you say that he has left behind?
Late President Muhammadu Buhari left a legacy of leadership, of integrity. He left also a legacy of character. He is one of the Nigerian president in contemporary times who also invested so much in infrastructural development, because you have the Lagos-Ibadan road, you have the second Niger bridge construction, you have road construction across the country, Akwanga, Makodi, Enugu. All these were achieved under him. So he was somebody who believed in infrastructural development, and he invested heavily in it. Finally, we also remembered him for his humility as a leader. And I think posterity will be fair to him. Why he might not have touched the lives of Nigerians much is that he was an investment of the Nigerian political Nigerians, and the political capital was invested by Nigerians, and so there was so much expectation on his from his leadership, which Nigerians did not get, and that is understandable. But I pray that God, in His infinite mercy, will grant his soul peace, and then comfort the family and the entire country.
Amen to that, Mr. Dalong. Now, apparently we're not letting you go just yet, but then you heard Sheriff, we spoke to Sheriff, and he talked about how some of the policies and his efforts did not work in the Niger Delta. Now, could you tell us, do you have an idea of what could have hampered, former President Buhari's efforts, from working, or some of these policies from actually, shaping up?
The failure of most of these projects can be attributed to Buhari's character. Buhari believed in himself and believed that every other person think like him. So when he gives you an assignment, he doesn't believe that you need to be supervised. And those who had worked with him closely understood that weakness. And so they exploited it and maximized it to destroy his government. One of the greatest challenges President Buhari faced was that Buhari was being fenced by his courtiers. Do not allow people to have access to him. I saw him last in 2020. And we had very robust discussion with him, and I pointed out to him what was happening around him as a president, how he has been shielded, and how things are going wrong everywhere, and information are not filtering to him. At the end of the day, he appealed to me that I should always come round to feed him with information about what was happening. And I told him that your gatekeepers will not allow anybody or allow me to see you. And he became very angry and bitter. I said, why will they do that to you? Although he called his aides, those who manages his protocol, and told them, look, if Solomon Dalong wants to, he calls me Che Guevara rather. He said, if Che Guevara wants to see me, just tell me it is my responsibility to give him an appointment. He never came again. There was a time I wanted to see him. He gave me an appointment. I traveled, I was out of the country. I traveled back to Nigeria. I went to the State House just for the protocol to tell me that it was a mistake. When he even left office, I went to Daura to see him. And on getting to the house, even after giving them information that I was coming to see the former president, on getting there, I was told that he has gone to the farm. So this type of barricade around him was majorly what undermined Buhari's presidency. So information about what was happening were not filtering into him for him to be able to take decision. And this indeed deprived Nigeria of the benefit of his leadership.
Okay. Now, let's go back to Mr. Mulade. Mr. Mulade, welcome back. In your view, what legacy, if any, would you say Buhari left behind in terms of environmental justice in the Niger Delta?
Well, if I want to narrow his legacy to the Niger Delta, I will commend former President Muhammadu Buhari for the surveillance contracts he awarded to some of the Niger Delta freedom fighters, who has been able to protect and safeguard the national facilities that has equally increased our production. And today, we can confidently boast that Nigeria is approaching about 2 million barrels daily. And that is a legacy that Buhari has laid in the Niger Delta. For most of us, we are very glad that since this surveillance contract were awarded to some of these persons, the issues of environmental degradation has been a thing of the past. Consistent and constant pipeline vandalism, illegal bunkering, that has led to contamination of the water bodies, the environment, and the air has become a thing of the past. So for us in the Niger Delta, we hold Buhari in high esteem because of his immense contribution to end these continuous environmental degradation that have been eroding the Niger Delta. And so we continue to remember him for that. And secondly, we will also remember him for the sustainability of peace in the entire Niger Delta, because he came in and sustained the presidential amnesty program, and which the current president is also doing. Assuming he didn't sustain that, maybe most of these freedom fighters and the youth may go back to the creek and continue to commit some nuisance that will affect the generality of the Niger Delta and Nigeria at large. So there are a lot of things we will remember former President Muhammadu Buhari for, and his immense contribution. His attention to the Niger Delta cannot be emphasized. We know he paid some sort of attention to the Niger Delta to see how the region can be revitalized, especially as it has to do with the ecosystem. Of course, in the area of security, he also contributed immensely. When you look at during his time, there was a relative peace in the Niger Delta because he paid more attention or special attention to the Niger Delta, because that is the lifeblood of the Nigerian economy. So he did a lot for the people of the Niger Delta. We will greatly miss him, and will continue to remember Muhammadu Buhari for the short services he has provided. When we look at all his antecedent of leadership, he has some quality, like as I was saying, that people find to, or we need to emulate, because he's one person that has been consistent, focused, and determined. This is someone who contested for the president of this country about 3 good times and hopefully failed, but he was focused. And at the fourth...
all right, Sheriff, we'll definitely come back to you, to give us more on the leadership qualities of the former president. Gentlemen, if you could just stay with us, we'll take a break. When we come back, we will continue with this discussion. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us on the news. Just before the break, we were having a discussion with Solomon Dalong, former Minister of Youth and Sports, Nigeria, and also Sheriff Mulade, a renowned environmental activist in Niger Delta. Now, we will be coming back to you, Mr. Mulade, but let's speak to Mr. Dalong. Mr. Dalong, let's touch a bit on politics. Questions are being asked on, what would happen to the CPC bloc, meant to be loyal to former President Buhari, and also the APC, especially with the bloc pushing for North Central APC chairmanship now. What are your thoughts on everything happening in that party?
Well, then President Muhammadu Buhari was the leader of the CPC, an amalgam that formed the APC and formed government in 2015. Well, President Muhammadu Buhari became president. He appointed almost all the major political parties. He formed government with them. The ACN produced the vice president nominated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He nominated the vice president. He nominated ministers into key ministries. He nominated chairman of boards and parastatals, key boards and parastatals. So the ACN of Bola Ahmed Tinubu was one of the major beneficiaries of President Tinubu's, President Muhammadu Buhari's presidency. But unfortunately, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board, the CPC bloc was completely ditched and alienated from everything. Concessions, as it were, made to them when Buhari was president was never revisited. The issue of even following the legacy of asking President Muhammadu Buhari to produce the vice president was not even followed. And so the APC, the CPC bloc felt alienated, and that is one of the major reasons why there is instability in terms of cohesion within the APC among the major blocs that form the political party. With the exit of President Muhammadu Buhari, there are going to be more challenges, not only in politics, but in the country generally, because President Buhari was a major stabilizer of even the major that led to the formation of APC. So now that he's gone, and from the ranks there is no evidence of an eminent successor who has the capacity to take up from where he left, there are going to be challenges. The party will not be the same, and ultimately that will affect even governance itself, even though the party has not managed the country well since Buhari left. Because Buhari, despite all his shortcomings and his inability to deliver on some of his major promises, Buhari was able to manage the country better. But the situation has worsened now, and Nigerians are being traumatized by different government policies. So the exit of Buhari will definitely lead to a tsunami. There will be a political tsunami in the political landscape of this country in days to come.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Dalong. With that, we'd actually link up to Katsina, where we're told that some dignitaries are already coming into the state to commiserate with the family and also attend the burial of former President Muhammadu Buhari. You can see live visuals of security men there, security forces there to make sure that there are no tensions, there's no issue, you know, with whatever is going to happen today.
Right.
All right.
You were meant to.
All right, now I think we will be going back to Sheriff. Now, Sheriff, if you're still with us, earlier, just before the break, you were talking about the leadership qualities of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. Please, can you go ahead and go ahead with that?
What I was trying to say is that the legacies and his leadership qualities and style are worth emulating, because from 1983 to 85, there was war against indiscipline, and that war against indiscipline, the WAI, give Buhari that necessary and the needed popularity. And war against indiscipline were one of the legacy that we can continue to remember President Muhammadu Buhari for. And when he came back to leadership, you can see some of those qualities in him. First, his body language clearly shows to those who serve under him and Nigerians at large that this is a man of discipline, this is a man of focus, this is a man of determination, that one is an incorruptible human being. So corruption were far from him, not like other leaders from all categories of leadership in Nigeria, where we will attribute them dissident as corrupt leaders. But Buhari is, until his demise, is the only president that we can say that is an incorruptible leader. Unfortunately, like as I said earlier, because of age caught on him. So when he became the president of this country in 2015 to 2023, it becomes a bit challenging. And those he trusted by appointing to work with him see it as an opportunity to enrich themselves. So instead of to move with his body charisma, they begin to enrich themselves, begin to empower their cronies, all in order to take advantage of their various state and constituency leadership. So these were some of the lapses that we experienced from his coming to presidency in 2015 to 2023. But however, there were a lot of qualities that we can learn, we can emulate, because when you look at his consistency in government, his consistency is in leadership drive, his consistency in pursuit for a better Nigeria. You can't take it out from the former president. This is a president, and the few period that I was privy and opportune to be in Daura, Katsina State, you can see the impact of his leadership in his local communities in Daura. So when you visit, there are some persons or people who become even leaders of their state and even leaders of their communities or their countries. If you go to their home country home, you can't find that legacy. But in Buhari, in Daura, if you visit Daura, you will see the impact of his leadership in his communities. And you can see the level of development he attracted to the community that brought Daura to one of the major cities in the northern part of Nigeria. Then beyond that, you can also see the human capacity development. He did a lot by empowering a lot of Nigerians he trusts. And Buhari is not someone that will appoint you or will appoint you for to be a crony or to front for him. He identified critical stakeholders, those who he think, those who he believe that can carry the same vision, that can carry the same quality of leadership and dispense it to Nigeria. Like as I said, unfortunately, most of this generation of leadership see themselves as an opportunity for federal government appointment, because government is one of the only way people can loot and continue to loot the treasury of Nigeria. So for me, Buhari have done well. If you have visited some of his area, you will know. And lastly, this is his simplicity of lifestyle his simplicity of leadership quality. I find it difficult to identify any current Nigerian leader in authorities, either at the local government, state, or federal level, that you hardly find the quality that Buhari possessed in terms of his simplicity. His lifestyle was very simple. Even if you visit his residence in Daura, you will be amazed. Is this the president resident? And when you visit some serving governors, I'm not talking of president, I'm talking of serving governors and former governors and even some commissioner, you begin to imagine where did they got this money for? And we know how much they are being paid on a monthly basis. And this is until his demise. He's a farmer. He believes in his trade. He believes in his skill. And his skill outside military was farming. So he was farming to feed Nigeria. What is our leaders? What can we know them for? What is our current leadership? What is our former ministers and governors? What do we know them for? Outside looting and building hotels and continue to commit more crime and corruption into the society. So this is someone who we must continue to lead. And I want to urge and appeal to the media houses to highlight some of these qualities and continue to use them so that the next generation, the next leadership of Nigeria can see the quality.
All right, Mr. Mulade, we would take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll have to hear your final thoughts from both of you. Please stay with us. All right, now just before we wrap up, Mr. Dalong, we would love to hear your final thoughts on the death of the former President Muhammadu Buhari and the life that he has lived.
Well, let me highlight something on the stability in the Niger Delta, which Sheriff had been emphasizing. When we came in 2015, in 2016, the crisis in the Niger Delta heightened. And the president was contemplating so many options, including the use of military option to stabilize the region. And so I approached him and I told him I was going to work on a peace project with some of the youth in the Niger Delta, and I would revert to him. So after much consultation with the leaders of the agitating youth in the Niger Delta, the freedom fighters, as you refer to them, we concluded with them that negotiations as to stability of the region can only be achieved with me visiting them in the creek. That was a very difficult decision, but I made up my mind I was going to go. So I went to President Buhari to brief him of my intention to go, and he vehemently opposed it. After, dragging for some time, he asked me, why would you want to put the government in such a situation? How will you, a sitting minister, travel to the creek to meet with agitating youth? So I told him, Mr. President, if I can lay my life for this country and there will be peace, let my blood bring peace to Nigeria. So he kept quiet, and I told him I was going. He was so worried when I insisted I was leaving and I would go to the creek. So I came back, I discovered that he was too disturbed, and I came back and I told him, Mr. President, I'll be going, but out of three things, what will happen? I'm going to be kidnapped, I'm going to be killed, I will return alive. So I walked out of his office and I left for the creek. As God will have it, I met with the agitating youth in the creek. The youth provided the flying board that took me from the jetty to inside the creek. I was given a security aid to assist me, but while we were about to board at the jetty, the security had a running stomach. So he wanted me to abort the trip, and I told him no. I'm from a community that once you declare war, you don't look back. So I wouldn't look back. Even if it were my dead body that we brought back, I'm not going back. So he can go to the hospital. I took him and I left the young people. We had 2 hours on the high seas to get to our destination. And we had a very robust and fruitful discussions with them. They took me around the creek. They introduced the challenges with their leaders. I saw how devastating the environment was. And there was no single government project there except a foundation of a cottage hospital that had been there for 10 years. So after spending 2 hours with them, I left back. They gave me a very good reception. And when I was about to turn, they now asked, "Did you come with somebody?" I said, "Yes, I came with a second person, but he took ill and is receiving medical attention." So they said, "No, you have been betrayed. And there is an ongoing plan to attack you. But we want to assure you that for being a man of peace and man who loves this country, I want to provide you with security that will take you back security safely." And they organized and provided security for me, and I came back. So when I went and briefed the president, I gave him the report. In his words, he said, "I was a minister of petroleum for 3.5 years, and I've been a president. I've been a chairman of PTF. I have never received any genuine, authentic report about the situation in the Niger Delta like you did." He told me, "God bless you." That was the report that laid the foundation of negotiation, reach out, policies that brought stability in the Niger Delta till then. My last words about President Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari was a great man, a great leader, a man of impeccable integrity, a very humble and selfless personality that was greatly misunderstood. With his exit, the country has lost a great asset in leadership. I thought he was going to contribute, at least for some time before he will depart. But God, in his infinite mercy, has willed it that he should exit on the 13th of July. I pray that God will grant him internal rest. And I send my special condolences to Nigerians. I will miss him as a personal friend, an honest man whom we discuss honestly with him, as a leader, as a mentor, and as a father. God bless Nigeria.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Dalong, for those kind words, and our deepest condolences once again. Now let's come back to you, Sheriff. Sheriff, let's have your final thoughts.
Well, we will miss our former head of states, former president, a great leader, a mentor, and someone I think Nigeria needs to emulate some of his good qualities in terms of leadership. For the few things he has done for Nigerians, I believe Nigerians know them better. Like as I said, under his leadership in 1983 to 85, we will attribute the war against indiscipline to former President Buhari, where that incorruptible leadership was achieved from that level. And in 2005, till 2023. Of course, there were also a lot of things we will remember the former president for. Above all, there are qualities of simplicity. My last word that I will say on this is that our leaders should remember, many of them are in Daura now. This is life. No man can continue to sit as a governor more than 8 years. No man, no matter powerful, no matter strong, no matter how elderly you are, you can't sit more than 8 years as a president of this country. And under President Muhammadu Buhari, something we rejoice with. Today, we will say we rejoice with it because we didn't see where he brought his family to play the role of leadership, in his government. We see he was elected and he ran the government as an elected president of this country, not with his household. So our leaders in this nation should emulate late President Buhari for these qualities, so that when we voted for you, Nigerians voted for you, not for you and your household. So please, our leaders should learn from former President Buhari. Secondly, his simplicity should also be emulated by our leaders today, because like as I said, power is transit, and many of us will have the privilege to be in authority, and you will also be out of that place. There is not your resident, is not your family house. So when you are there, try as much as possible to put in your best, to give your best to Nigeria, so that Nigerians can continue to remember you for good and not for bad. I think his life and legacy and time is a reasonable part where contributed to the betterment of Nigeria. So we miss him greatly. I commiserate with the immediate family, the good people of Daura, Katsina State, and Nigeria at large.
All right, well, thank you so much once again, Solomon Dalong, former Minister of Youth and Sports, and also Sheriff Mulade, a renowned environmental activist, for your time and for speaking so passionately on the former President Muhammadu Buhari.
Thank you very much.
Well, with that, we wrap up the news. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.